The fluorescent lights of MIT's AI lab hum above me, a constant reminder of the artificial world we're creating. Numbers scroll across my screen, endless lines of code that determine human compatibility. My fingers hover over the keyboard, trembling slightly. Something isn't right with these patterns. The Boston winter howls outside, rattling the windows of our sterile research facility. It's 3 a.m., and I'm the only one still here. Well, almost the only one. Through the glass walls of his office, I can see Marcus Sullivan hunched over his desk, his dark silhouette illuminated by multiple monitors. He hasn't moved in hours. Typical Marcus, lost in his algorithmic world. I pull up another dataset, my eyes burning from staring at screens too long. The AI matchmaking algorithm we've developed is revolutionary. 95% success rate in predicting long-term relationship compatibility. That's what the numbers say. That's what everyone believes. But there's something in the data that makes my stomach twist. A pattern I can't ignore. My tea has gone cold, forgotten beside my keyboard. The sound of footsteps makes me jump. Still here, Emma? Marcus's voice is soft, almost mechanical in its evenness. I turn, meeting his gaze. His blue eyes are intense behind his glasses, focused yet somehow distant. Like looking at the ocean through a window. These results, I say, gesturing to my screen. Something's off. He moves closer, his presence making my heart rate spike. The irony doesn't escape me. According to our algorithm, Marcus and I are a 98.7% match. The highest compatibility score in the lab. Show me, he says, leaning over my shoulder. His cologne mingles with the sterile lab air. Clean. Clinical. Like everything else about him. I point to the correlation matrices, the patterns that have been keeping me awake. The algorithm is filtering out certain demographic combinations. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. It's creating invisible barriers. Marcus's expression doesn't change. It never does. The results speak for themselves, he says. We're helping people find love. My fingers curl into fists under the desk. We're perpetuating bias. The words hang in the air between us. Heavy. Dangerous. His jaw tightens, a micro-expression most people would miss. But I've spent months studying him, both professionally and otherwise. The algorithm learns from successful relationships, he says. It's not bias, it's pattern recognition. I stand up, needing to move, needing space from his proximity. The lab feels smaller suddenly, suffocating. What if the patterns it's learning are based on societal prejudices? My voice echoes in the empty space. Marcus runs a hand through his already disheveled hair. A rare display of frustration. We can't question every successful match because of theoretical concerns. They're not theoretical. I pull up another screen. Look at the data clusters. The numbers tell a story he doesn't want to see. A story of digital segregation. Of automated discrimination. His silence fills the room. Outside, snow begins to fall. Soft, silent. Like the way our algorithm quietly shapes people's lives. The project launches next month, he finally says. His voice is tight. Controlled. We have investors, partnerships, commitments. I know what he's really saying. We have millions of dollars on the line. Hundreds of jobs. Our futures. We can't ignore this, I whisper. He steps closer. Too close. Emma. My name on his lips makes my chest tighten. Don't do this. The air between us crackles with unspoken things. With compatibility scores and late-night conversations. With shared dreams and opposing values. My phone buzzes, making us both jump. A notification from our own app. Your perfect match is closer than you think. I want to laugh at the cruel timing. Instead, I feel tears burning behind my eyes. Marcus reaches for me, then stops. His hand hovers in the space between us. Like the rest of him, caught between action and analysis. We need to run more tests, he says finally. A compromise. Always the logical solution. But some things can't be solved with logic. Some things require courage. I gather my coat, my bag, my resolve. I'm submitting my findings to the ethics board tomorrow. The words come out calm. Final. His face goes completely still. That would destroy everything we've built. No, I say, heading for the door. It would force us to build something better. The snow swirls around me as I leave the lab, cold and clean against my hot cheeks. My phone buzzes again. Another algorithm-generated reminder of our perfect compatibility. I turn it off. Some things can't be quantified. Some choices can't be calculated. The truth is messy, imperfect, human. Back in my apartment, I stare at my research notes. Years of work, of believing we could perfect love through mathematics. The city lights twinkle through falling snow. Soft and deceptive, like the promises we've been making. My father's voice echoes in my memory. Numbers don't lie, Emma. But people do. Systems do. Even ones built with the best intentions. I open my laptop. Start typing. The truth needs to be told. Even if it costs me everything. Even if it costs me him. The snow falls harder outside my window, covering everything in clean, white silence. Tomorrow, I'll shatter that silence. Tomorrow, I'll choose truth over perfection. Over love. Over everything we could have been. My phone lights up one last time. A message from Marcus. Please. Just one word. It breaks my heart, but not my resolve. I close my eyes. Let the tears fall. Sometimes doing the right thing means losing what you want most. That's something no algorithm can fix. That's something only the heart can understand. Even if it breaks in the process. The night stretches ahead. Long and cold and full of certainty. Tomorrow will change everything. But tonight I let myself remember. The way he looks at code like poetry. The way his mind works in beautiful patterns. The way we could have been perfect. On paper. In theory. In another world where truth doesn't matter. But it does matter. It always has. And tomorrow, everyone will know why. Morning arrives with harsh clarity, sunlight reflecting off fresh snow. My ethics report sits in my outbox, waiting to be sent. One click will change everything. The lab feels different as I walk in, my footsteps echoing in the quiet space. Early morning researchers barely look up from their screens. They don't know what's coming. My desk seems smaller today, crowded with the weight of decisions. Marcus's office is dark, empty. My heart stutters. He's never late. A notification pops up on my screen. Meeting request, Marcus Sullivan. Location, rooftop. Time, now. My hands shake as I put on my coat. The elevator ride feels endless. Each floor bringing me closer to a conversation I'm not ready to have. The rooftop door creaks open. Cold air hits my face like a slap. Marcus stands at the edge, looking out over Cambridge. Snow covers everything in sight. Pure, pristine, deceptive. I spent all night reviewing your findings, he says without turning. His voice carries on the winter wind. You're right. The words hit me harder than the cold. I step closer, my boots crunching in the snow. What? Now he turns. His eyes are red-rimmed. He hasn't slept. The bias is there, he says. I just didn't want to see it. Something breaks inside my chest. Relief? Pain? Both? What are we going to do? I whisper. He looks back at the city. The sun catches his profile. Sharp, clear, determined. We're going to fix it. The investors dash. Can wait. He runs a hand through his hair. Snow falls from the strands. I built this algorithm to help people find love. His voice cracks slightly, not to limit their chances of finding it. I move beside him at the railing, our shoulders almost touching. Almost. It will take months to rebuild. Then will take months. He turns to face me. You were willing to sacrifice everything for what's right. His eyes hold mine. I can do no less. The morning air feels electric between us, full of possibility and danger. The compatibility scores, I start. We're accurate about one thing, he interrupts. My heart pounds. What's that? Us. The word hangs in the frozen air, but not because of algorithms. He takes a step closer. Because you make me want to be better. Snow starts falling again, soft flakes catching in his dark hair. On his eyelashes. Marcus dash. Let me finish. His hands grip the railing, knuckles white. I've spent my life believing in patterns, in predictability, in control. Each word forms a cloud in the cold air. But you. He shakes his head. You make me question everything. My chest feels too tight. My skin too warm despite the cold. Is that a good thing? I whisper. His laugh is soft. Broken. Beautiful. It's terrifying. He reaches for my hand. His fingers are cold against mine. But it's real. The city spreads out below us. Millions of people. Millions of possibilities. All reduced to data points in our system. We have to start over, I say. He nods. From scratch. It will be harder. It will be better. His thumb traces patterns on my palm. Equations only we understand. The board meeting is in an hour, I remind him. I know. We could lose everything. Or build something worth having. The sun breaks through the clouds, turning the snow to diamonds, making everything clear. Together, I ask. His fingers tighten around mine. The algorithm got that part right, at least. We stand there as the city wakes up, hand in hand, on the edge of destruction. Or creation. The choice is ours now. No calculations needed. My phone buzzes in my pocket. The board is waiting. It's time. We walk to the door together, each step leaving prints in the fresh snow. A new pattern, an uncertain path, but our own. The elevator descends, floor by floor, bringing us back to reality, to consequences, to truth. Marcus doesn't let go of my hand. I don't let go of my principles. Sometimes love isn't about perfect matches. It's about perfect timing, perfect courage, perfect trust. The doors open to our future, whatever it may be. We step out together, ready to rewrite the algorithm, ready to redefine love. One honest line of code at a time. The boardroom feels like a courtroom. 12 faces stare back at us, illuminated by the morning sun. Each one representing millions in investment, years of research, careers built on promises we're about to break. My presentation slides wait on the screen behind us. Evidence, truth, consequences. Marcus stands beside me, his presence steady, grounding. The algorithm project has been our most successful venture, I begin. My voice carries in the silent room. But success built on flawed foundations isn't success at all. I click through the data, the patterns, the prejudices hidden in plain sight. Someone clears their throat. A pen taps against wood. Time stretches like taffy. What exactly are you suggesting, Dr. Zhang? Janet Chin, lead investor, leans forward. Her eyes sharp as scalpels. A complete rebuild, Marcus steps in. His voice firm. Certain. From the ground up. The room erupts. Voices overlap. Anger. Disbelief. Fear. Do you understand what this means? Launch is in 4 weeks. The marketing campaign is already live. I stand my ground. Let the chaos wash over me. We can't launch knowing what we know. My words cut through the noise. We won't. Janet stands. Her silk blouse catches the light. Like armor. You're asking us to throw away millions. I'm asking us to be better. The words come from somewhere deep inside. Somewhere true. Love isn't just data. It's not algorithms. It's human. And humans deserve better than digital discrimination. Marcus's hand finds mine under the table. A silent vote of confidence. The room goes quiet, heavy with decision. Janet's eyes narrow. Calculate. Consider. How long? 6 months, Marcus answers. Minimum. More murmurs. More protests. But something has shifted. I can feel it. Like static before a storm. Show me, Janet says. So we do. Hour after hour. Slide after slide. Truth after truth. The sun arcs across the sky. Shadows lengthen. Coffee cups empty and fill. Until finally, Janet nods. Just once. But it's enough. 6 months, she says. Not a day more. And if you're wrong about this, the threat hangs unfinished. Unnecessary. We know what's at stake. The room empties slowly, like air from a punctured balloon, until it's just us, standing in the aftermath, breathing in possibility. We did it, I whisper. Marcus turns to me, his eyes bright with something new, something real. No, he says. We're just beginning. He's right. The hard part comes next. Building something true, something human, something worth believing in. My phone buzzes. The old algorithm sending its last match suggestion. I delete it without looking. Some things can't be calculated. Some things have to be felt. Like the way Marcus looks at me now. Like the future stretching before us. Uncertain. Exciting. Real. Outside, the snow has stopped. The world looks clean. New. Ready for whatever we write next. Together, we leave the boardroom hand in hand. Walking towards something bigger than algorithms. Bigger than data. Bigger than fear. The lab waits for us. Screens glowing with possibility. Ready to be rewritten. Line by line. Heart by heart. Truth by truth. Until we get it right. Until love finds its own way. Without filters. Without bias. Without limits. Just pure human connection. In all its messy, beautiful glory. The way it was always meant to be. End.